It's FYF Sports, man. It's Lamont. We back with another game breakdown video. Today we got a big game out of the Western Conference. Los Angeles Lakers, Denver Nuggets. We got to break this game down. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of big time runs, a lot of big time shots made. So we're going to get to that footage here in a second. Before we get started with the highlights, with the game breakdown, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video. Again, when you do that, you staying actively engaged. You know, we can get this media out to you faster. And so far, again, I just want to show my appreciation to everybody who's donated to the channel so far, everybody who's supported to the channel, who's watching our videos, liking our videos. You know, every small thing that you do, whether it's donation, whether it's a like, it helps this channel grow, and we definitely appreciate it. So we're already at 12K subscribers, a little over that. That's far more subscribers than we ever imagined at this particular point. So we appreciate everybody who's helped this channel grow so far. The next goal is the 20K. That's where we're trying to get. By December, we're looking at 100K subscribers. We're, you know, no excuses. I know that's a big number. A lot of people say it's impossible, but you know, a lot of people said it was going to be impossible to get to 10K subscribers in a couple months, and we were able to do it. So anything's possible over here at FYF Sports. But today, man, we got to get to this game, man. Big time game. This game actually means a lot for both teams. Denver doesn't want to go down big to another team. In both the series that they played in the previous rounds, they were down 3-1 to the Utah Jazz. They were down 3-1 to the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't think they have it. I don't think they have the energy to go down big to another team, especially a Laker team with this much defensive intensity, and expect to come back with another miraculous comeback. So we're just going to jump straight to these highlights, man. We're just going to start with the fourth quarter. This is a game where you know, this is similar to game one. I thought this game would get out of hand, out of control early, and it didn't. Denver Nuggets are definitely a resilient team, and this team will not go away. They don't go down easily with a fight. Michael Porter Jr. showed up big, 14 points. Early on in the game, it looked like he was going to have a monster game. Just looking at the way he was playing, but it looked like Mike Malone just kind of wanted to play a more defensive-oriented lineup. So it looked like Michael Porter Jr. was getting subbed out more than a lot of Denver fans would have hoped for. But again, we're just going to get to this fourth quarter. We're going to break it down. Just an amazing game. But let's get straight to these highlights. Now, this was a fourth quarter again. The Lakers struggled in this fourth quarter. We're not going to deny it. This was one of the few times LeBron James was able to get to the rim in the second half. Great first half, 20 points in the first half. Quiet in the second half. I don't know if that's fatigue. You know, I don't know if it's just the defense. But he just didn't have it in that fourth quarter, as we saw guys like Plumlee. You know, we saw guys like PJ Dozier. We saw all of these guys step up in the fourth, which helped dissipate that 16-point lead that the Lakers had. And they ate into that lead. Murray scores the layup here to actually go up one, but it seemed like whenever Denver took the lead, the Lakers would come back right there, as you see Danny Green with a three. So it was just kind of a back-and-forth battle in the fourth quarter. Rondo led the way with another great fourth quarter. You see him make a timely three right there. Again, just always giving them that extra cushion, and made it extremely hard on Denver throughout this entire game. PJ Dozier, again, great take on Anthony Davis right there. He was one of the surprise players in the fourth quarter. He got a lot more playing time, a lot more than a lot of people expected because of his defense. He showed up right there offensively. But again, as we see, timely buckets. KCP, tough three out of the corner right here. And all night, the Denver Nuggets had to deal with this right here. Just timely buckets by the Los Angeles Lakers. Then Anthony Davis, tough step back on Paul Millsap. Again, this is one of the things that made Anthony Davis unguardable tonight. Unguardable. He was able to not just destroy the Denver Nuggets on the interior, but he made jumpers as well. Jokic, tough shot right there. He dominated for a large portion of the end of the fourth quarter. Gave the Lakers matchup problems. They were choosing not to double team, and you can see that they're getting punished for not double teaming Jokic. They're allowing Jokic to kill them score-wise. I do not think that they want to allow him to be a playmaker and pick them apart the same way he did with the Clippers. Jokic, another shot right there, cuts the lead down to 1. And then we see Jokic again, timely tip in, gives them a lead. You know, this is again, Denver takes the lead. What happens on the following play? Again, their ability to get stops, their ability to find a way to stop Anthony Davis has been invisible. And as we can see here, just another easy bucket for Anthony Davis. No resistance at all. He easily gets the floater to fall. Jokic right here. Again, the Lakers are not going to double Jokic. He scores over Anthony Davis easily for a layup where most people thought the game was sealed. All Denver needed to do was make one defensive stand. And it looks like they played solid defense here. LeBron swings it. Caruso open three. That's a good look. A little luck on the Lakers side right here. Another block shot, but the ball is back to the Lakers with 2 seconds on the clock. And we all know what happens here. Game. We got to get to the stats here, man. We got to get to the stats here. This is a game. This is a game right here where the Lakers, they started off the game shaky. LeBron James carried the way early in the game as the team just struggled to make shots early. But when you have a player like LeBron James who can carry you through those tough periods when guys aren't making shots, that's something that helps sustain you, especially later on in the game. And then when you can transition, it looks like James probably got fatigued, wore himself down because he had to exert so much energy in the first half. We see Anthony Davis take over in the second half. And when you have two superstars like that, where each superstar can carry you through either half, man, that's a sign of a great team, especially when both players clearly understand that. We're gonna look at the stats here. Millsap only 6 points, man. Millsap was one of the key players that helped this team outlast the Clippers. Millsap in 2 games has not really done much offensively or defensively. Look to see Mike Malone find a way to get him involved more. Jeremy Grant, again, they're not allowing Jeremy Grant to get those same baskets because the Lakers are committed to not double teaming Jokic. And again, when you don't double team Jokic, you see guys like Millsap and Grant, they're not as effective on the offensive end. So Grant only 7 points today, didn't give any rebounds. So Grant, again, that's an effort thing. The effort's not there. 1 assist, 3 steals. Now Jokic, another great game. When Jokic's giving you those 30-point games, what you also see is you see everybody else struggling to find their rhythm. A lot of these other guys, like Millsap, like Grant, like Morris, even guys like Gary Harris, these guys feed off of Jokic when he's able to get them the ball in rhythm, in their spots, cutting to the basket. The Lakers are not giving the other guys those layups. Again, they're going to stick with guarding everybody straight up, and they're going to allow Jokic and Murray to beat them. And again, as long as you keep those other guys quiet, it's going to be extremely hard for the Denver Nuggets to find enough scoring to beat this Laker team. But Jokic with 30 points, man, great game, 9 assists, 4 steals. But again, he had to work for all of those buckets. We got Murray, 25 points. Again, now Murray's putting up solid numbers. If you look at Murray's field goal percentages, again, Murray plus 16 today while he was on the court. But at times, it looks like he can disappear. He has some big buckets at the end, but what they more so need from Murray are those big defensive stands, those big stops, those big rebounds. And he kind of made a mistake at the end of the game there when he wasn't even out of bounds, and he throws the ball off his teammate that give the Lakers that last possession of the game. These are things you just got to be a bit more aware of. But again, we can't blame him. He's showing up. He's the only player on this team that really can get his own shot. These other guys got to find a way to step up and be effective. And then Michael Porter Jr., remember, he had that great first half in 20 minutes of action, 15 points, 4 rebounds. I would have liked to see him in a game at the end, but Michael Porter Jr., man, he's been shown to be a defensive liability in the game. And you can't have him in late game situations. So with all the scoring that he gives you in the first half, until he's able to find a way to step up on the defensive end, the Nuggets will have to play without this man in the fourth quarter of games. We're going to scroll down to the Lakers stats right here. And these Lakers stats, man, again, more of a balanced approach, I would say. It was just, I love the way that they're attacking with their team. Now, they started the game off. The others weren't really shooting shooting very effectively or efficiently, this is when LeBron James carried the team early. But Anthony Davis, we had 31 points. He did most of his damage in the second half. Big threes. I like the fact that he's 2 of 4 from the three-point line. I like seeing Anthony Davis take those threes. When he takes those threes, even if he's missing them, he's stretching the defense. They have to honor him. And as you saw in the highlights, the game-winning shot Anthony Davis shot was a 3. So now that he's taking and making those threes, stretching that Denver defense, they have to honor him out there. It's just going to make things easier for him as this series transpires. We got LeBron James, 26 points. Most of his damage done in the first half. LeBron James, again, when these stars can take turns, or if one guy's not having it in a quarter or a certain half, the other guy can take over. Again, that's one of the benefits of having 2 superstars on your team who understand their roles. JaVale McGee, only 12 minutes, but he played a very effective 12 minutes. Danny Green, 11 points. Again, he struggled shooting 3 of 10, but with guys like Danny Green, you have to keep shooting. You have to keep shooting because it keeps the defense honest. So he did a good job seeking out his shot, even though he wasn't shooting as well. Caldwell Pope, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Caldwell Pope's playing some solid basketball. Great defense, great field goal percentage, 3 of 5. 3 of 5 from the three-point line, 3 of 6 from the field. So I like what Caldwell Pope is bringing. Morris didn't have a game, didn't have it today. But I think the matchups in this particular series, I think those Denver forwards are just a little bit quicker than him, just giving him some issues. But again, I don't see him playing this bad all throughout the series. Kyle Kuzma, 8 points. Yeah, Kuzma's been quiet. I want to see more from Kuzma, especially defensively. He's been playing kind of wild lately. A lot of offensive fouls, just kind of tells me he's forcing it. He's not letting the game come to him. I want to see him step up and have that a one big game that helps propel the Lakers. They need that third scoring option. Caruso, this man played 29 minutes, effective on both ends of the court, extremely high basketball IQ. The man just understands the game, and he understands his role. A lot of people say he's overrated. I don't. It's hard to find players who can do what Caruso does. To not just play with a high IQ, but play with a high motor, high energy at all times. Again, it's very hard to find guys that selfless who can play that way. We see this man diving for loose balls, stripping players, keeping balls alive on possessions, offensive rebounds. When you have a guard who can give you that, again, it's invaluable, especially when that player is extremely selfless. Rondo, kind of a quiet game, but he was able to control the fourth quarter. There were streaks in that fourth quarter where the Lakers needed to slow the game down and get buckets. There was a possession where he was able to find Danny Green, get a 3. Another possession where he off the rub screen, he was able to get a 3 for himself. And again, having Rondo as that secondary point guard when either LeBron needs a breather or when LeBron needs to play off ball, that's going to be vital to the success of this team, especially when we see them go against Eastern Conference opponents, whether it's the Boston Celtics or the Miami Heat. So now that we've broken down the game, so this was a game where the Los Angeles Lakers won by 2 at the buzzer. We saw that great shot by Anthony Davis. We're going to take it to the post-conference. We're just going to play a snippet of the post-game news conference with LeBron James. I like I just want you guys to hear what LeBron James had to say and the praise that he gave Anthony Davis. It just kind of shows you the camaraderie and the respect that these two guys have for each other. And it's one of the reasons why this team is having so much success in the NBA playoffs.
About just how much he's leaned on you throughout the playoffs. And obviously he's played outstanding in the Western Conference Finals. I'm curious, what's the biggest thing that you've tried to instill in him during this time?
I think just staying even keel. That's what it's all about. The playoffs and the postseason, the more you advance into the postseason, the emotions and the adversity, and it's going to be a roller coaster at times. If you could just, no matter if you're up, no matter if you're down, being able to keep your composure and keep your mindset on the main thing is very important. This is the furthest he's gotten his career up until this point, and I'm just happy to be here with him to, give any advice, him to lean on me or, to be completely honest, in the second half, I leaned on him, and he brought us home, so I just try to set the example early on, and we leaned on him, especially in the fourth quarter, and he brought us home.
LeBron, Anthony came to LA asking for this pressure and asking for this kind of burden to be a great player in the playoffs. This is obviously a process that you've gone through. What is the challenge for an athlete, both to ask for that, to seek that out, but then also to perform when that moment comes?
I don't know. I think for me personally, it's always been about the man in the arena. You know, the quote from Theodore Roosevelt. You know, it's about the guy that's in the arena that's gone through everything, the blood, the sweat, the tears. You know, and in our situation, the competition. But it's about the work that you put in, belief in yourself. It's not about the doubters or the naysayers or the people who's going to talk about you and try to slander you and put you down and bring you down every single day. It's not about them because they've never been in an arena. They don't understand. So, you know, AD, he know how special he is. And when he don't, I'll be the first one to tell him how special he is. And, you know, he wanted to be here. I'm happy he wanted to be here, you know, because if he didn't, we wouldn't have a moment like tonight. So that's what it's all about. But, you know, you put that pressure on yourself when you don't really care about what other people think. Because what other people think it doesn't really matter because they don't understand. Anybody can talk from outside, but if they got into the ring or they got into the arena, probably 10 times out of 10, they shit the pants.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, that was LeBron James right there. Post-game news conference, man. Definitely giving Anthony Davis a lot of praise for having the intestinal fortitude to not just having the mindset and the willingness to take those shots, but actually going out there and making those shots. I mean, Anthony Davis has had a lot of critics in his career, from people calling him soft, just people saying he wasn't clutch, to people saying he couldn't be a winner. And then now, not just go to a great team, but go to a great team and also play above and exceed your role. And this is where I give Kevin Durant, players like Kevin Durant, credit. I mean, he went to a Golden State team. Yes, that team was loaded, but he didn't just go to that team. He went to that team and became the best player on that team. And that says something about your intestinal fortitude as well, your willingness to be a better player. So Anthony Davis, this Laker team, he's led them in almost every statistical category all year. That means he's not just along for the ride. He went to that team wanting to be the man, wanting to be the best player on the floor, wanting to demand. He wants to demand your best defender. He wants to take those shots at the end of the game. And as LeBron James even said in this post-game conference, and if you didn't see this news conference, you make sure you go back and watch the whole thing. He even explained how this play was drew up. You know, the initial read was to go to LeBron James. That read was taken away. The second read was to go to Anthony Davis. The fact that you have a point guard in Rondo who you can put in that out-of-bounds situation, who's not going to panic. He's going to seek through all the reads. He's going to make the right read. You know, again, a lot of people are going to say, oh, the play wasn't designed for Anthony Davis. No, obviously, when you're running a side out-of-bounds play, you have different looks. You have your first look. You have your second look. They probably even had a third look in case things went wrong. And they maybe even had a timeout option if they had any timeouts remaining to call a timeout if the Denver Nuggets were able to play sound defense and take away all those looks. As you saw on that last play, Mason Plumlee, major defensive mistake, not communicating on defense. That should have been an immediate switch. That should not have been an open shot for Anthony Davis. And Plumlee made the biggest mistake of the game. Gave up a wide open three. Jokic came over late to try to contest, but it was all she wrote by the time he got there. So as hot as Anthony Davis was in the second half, maybe the Denver Nuggets should have forced the ball into LeBron's hands, because he had struggled in the fourth quarter. He had airballed a couple shots. He was struggling to find a shot. He was playing like he was fatigued. I think these are things that Mike Malone is going to have to start trying to realize and recognize in becoming a coach. Because, again, the player that was killing you in the second half was Anthony Davis. He's the player that you don't want with the ball. And they allowed the Lakers' hottest player to touch the ball, and not just touch the ball at the end of the game, but take a wide open shot to win the game. These are things, experienced team, as the Denver Nuggets get more experience, as they play more playoff games, these are things that you can only learn through playoff experience. LeBron James has learned them. LeBron James is now teaching those things to Anthony Davis. And just like he said, man, a lot of these critics who like to throw darts at the Laker team, who like to throw darts at LeBron James, a lot of these people haven't been in his shoes. A lot of people haven't been in this situation to play these types of pressure-packed games. And that's what I appreciate. I'm not going to say LeBron James is my favorite player. One of the things I appreciate is how he doesn't allow the fanfare, what other people say. He doesn't allow all this stuff to dictate his game. He comes out, he plays a great game. He plays for his teammates. Whatever team he goes to, he helps build a great culture. One of the things that nobody's really talking about in this playoff bubble is, look at what team has the liveliest and most active bench in that bubble. There's no crowds to cheer you on. All you see is virtual fans. What team has had the most active, most lively bench cheering the guys on? The Lakers bench, with guys like JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. We look at JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard barely played any minutes in that last series against the Houston Rockets. They were the biggest cheerleaders on that bench, cheering the team on. And that's what I mean. When we look at some of these other teams, like when we look at that Denver bench, sometimes they'll pan over to that Denver bench and we'll see guys like Michael Porter Jr. Instead of cheering his guys on while he's on the bench, we'll see him pouting. He looks like he's upset because he's not in the game. He already went to a post game and he expressed his displeasure with the coaches for not designing plays for other guys or making sure the ball is moved enough so players like him can get more touches. So this is the difference between championship teams, the teams and the cultures that LeBron James is usually a part of, or teams that have struggled in the playoffs for the last 5-6 years, like the Denver Nuggets. It's about having players who can help you build a winning culture. And LeBron James, has he won? He's not undefeated in the finals. He's lost some finals, but the ability to be able to get your team there time and time again tells me one thing: that you are not only a winning player, but winning culture always follows you. Winning culture always follows you. There are a lot of players in the NBA that haven't even experienced a winning culture, and there are a lot of players in the NBA that would like to play with LeBron James just to experience that. And this is one of the reasons why we see some players, it may have looked as if they struggled when they were with LeBron James, but a lot of players will admit this, they actually learn from him. So when they leave, they understand what a winning culture looks and feels like. And so again, people of LeBron James caliber, they're gonna take a brunt of the blame. They're gonna take a lot of shots. The camera's always on them. Everything they do is looked at in a microscope. Here at FYF Sports, man, again, we're only here to give credit where credit is due. And one thing LeBron James did, again, he didn't have the greatest game today, at least as far as the second half goes. But again, his presence on the floor, the winning culture that he's helped build, all of those things molded into what happened at the end of this game, where they played a terrible second half, but they were still able to find a win. And I think this loss does more damage to the ego of the Denver Nuggets than even a win would have. Because again, this is the best basketball we will probably see the Denver Nuggets play, and they allowed this to slip away from them. So now they're in the 2-0 hole. They're going to be playing again Tuesday in a must-win game. Definitely wouldn't want to go down 3-0 to this Laker team, because again, coming back from 3-0 in the NBA is essentially impossible. So Denver has they have a lot to just try to fix over the next couple of days. Hopefully Mike Malone can get his lineups in order. He's just got to find that balance between offense and defense. What is your game plan? We know how sensitive Michael Porter Jr. is with his minutes. We know how sensitive Michael Porter Jr. is with those minutes. So, what are we going to do? Are we just going to deal with his defensive woes and allow him to play through it? Or are we going to sit him? And are we going to go with our defenders like Torrey Craig, even PJ Dozier, who showed you some great defense today? But you have to make up your mind, because you can't just keep going back and forth with teams, because it just looks as if you don't, there's no set structure. Things look like they're getting changed game by game. And that type of imbalance creates friction within the team. So you guys, let me know what you think about the game. I mean, I thought it was a great game. I love seeing really close playoff games. The one thing that I knew Denver wouldn't go away easy. They showed their resiliency against the LA Clippers. So I like the fact that they fought back. They gave the Lakers a test. And these are the types of body blows. These are the types of games that the Lakers need to experience. Because when they go into the finals, if they can get there against a team like the Boston Celtics or against the Miami Heat, they're going to get tested. And so the fact that now they've been tested in these late game situations and then they were able to come out unscathed and they actually came out with the win, even playing bad. Again, these things just make great teams greater. But make sure you guys let me know what you think about the game. Hit us up in the comments, man. We love it when you guys comment on our videos. I still haven't had one of you guys. I need one of you guys to come onto the show. You know, we still haven't had anybody ask about being a host. I know being a co-host to this show is going to be a lot of work. It's going to take some time. But again, it could pay off. You know, this channel gets to 100, 200, 300K subscribers. You know, all of that work will pay off. So we're looking for a dedicated host, someone with a unique voice and unique take on sports. So if you're interested in stepping in, being that second host on the show, let me know. This is for women, this is for men. Again, hit us up in our email, business@fyfsports.com. Let us know if this is something you want to do. And if it's something you want to do, we'll bring you on. We'll give you a test run, and we'll just see how it goes from there. But FYF Sports, man, another great news video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. But it's FYF Sports, man. We will be back with more breaking news and game highlights later. FYF Sports, and we out.